Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Elise Reads and Speaks. So I am doing my May wrap up today. Yeah, I know there's one more day left in May, but I also know that I'm not going to finish anything by tomorrow that I have started. So I'm just going to go ahead and call a spade and do my wrap up. So I read 6 books this month, which is not as much as last month when I did 10, but hey, I had a lot going on this month, so I don't really care. So what I started off with was Lady Smoke by Laura Sebastian. That is the second novel in the Ash Princess series. And I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars, but on Goodreads you have to round it up, so I did 4. So it was alright. Like, it was a good follow-up to Ash Princess. There were some good things, there were some bad things. I really liked the character that Theo was becoming. Like, in the first novel, she's the girl that has to take back her throne, okay? Remember, I really like these plot lines. So the first book was her just kind of figuring out who she is, remembering that she has people that she needs to be taking control of and leading. In the second book, she's becoming more of that character. She's finding out more of what she wants out of life. There were some like murder mystery plot lines in there that I really liked. I like her relationship with Soren, so, that one worked for me. And also, I like the secondary character of the Archduke. So I'm not going to say what happens to the Archduke, but something happens. But the thing I really liked about him is that I kind of felt like he had some high-functioning autism. If you think about his mannerisms and what he was interested in, I thought that was super interesting. Like, I like when there's representation of all forms. And again, I'm an SLP, so I'm working with autism every day. And I really liked that there was a character who was grounded and who was likable and in charge of an entire army. And I really think that this author kind of like subtly put hints in there that there was some autism. I thought that was great. I didn't like it as much as Ash Princess because it felt like, I don't know, it didn't felt like as meaty, and I really wanted to see more of Cress. Like, when we left with Ash Princess, I felt like Cress was going to become this huge villainous character, and I just didn't get that. I mean, you got some sprinkles of her, and you got the feeling that she was really becoming evil, but it just, it wasn't as much as I wanted, so it was okay. 3.5. I am hoping that the next installment goes back up to the 4 stars that I gave Ash Princess. Next on my list was a book club pick. Our pick for the month of May was What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. And I was very disappointed. I really like Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. I really like they both die at the end. So I was like, all right, 2 forces unite. We're going to get something huge. And it was like bland vanilla, okay? Yeah, there's some gay representation, but that's it. Like, that's all your book is riding on, is just these 2 boys falling in love. I can read that anywhere. It was just bleh. There was one thing that they mentioned in the book, unless I like dreamed it, but I think they mentioned it in the book, that they couldn't imagine dating somebody that thought that Michael Gambon was the better Albus Dumbledore, and I'll agree with them there. Like, I thought that was really good because I couldn't date somebody like that either. But that was it. Like, it was just about 2 boys that met each other at the post office, fell in love, had some like summer fling together, and then they saw that it could be bigger, and what were they gonna do because one of them had to move away and one of them had to stay there, and What If It's Us was just bland. It was a letdown. I gave that one 2 stars. I didn't give it 1 because I didn't hate it. I didn't hate, okay? Like, I told you last month, Dodger by Terry Pratchett, hated. All right, Protogenesis by Alicia Homing, hated. There are some books out there that I hate. So I didn't hate this one, but I disliked it. So 2 stars. 2 stars for that one. But the next book on my list was also a 2 star. That was We Set the Dark on Fire by Taylor Key Mejia. And it was just, all right, I'm going to tell you exactly what I put in my Goodreads review. I already read this book this year, except it was called Girls of Paper and Fire, and it was by Natasha Young. It was like basically the same story, okay? These 2 girls were owned by the same man, except one was called Primera and one was called Segunda, so that you kind of remember that there's some Hispanic flair in there, just in case you forgot what you were reading. And they fall in love. All right? It was like the same thing that I read in Girls of Paper and Fire when they were owned by the same man, except they were kind of like prostitutes or whatever they were, and they fell in love. It was just like, all right. I already read this, and there was nothing new or grabbing about it. It just wasn't for me. That was 2 stars. And the good news is that my next book was 5 stars. It was The Wicked King by Holly Black. And I listened to this audiobook and I thought it was great. It was probably more like 4.5 stars, but I rounded up to 5 because I really enjoyed that world. I gave 5 stars to The Cruel Prince that I read last month. Wicked King, solid follow-up. Like, it's such great world building. Okay, and these characters, they're not wonderful. Like, I find it very easy to hate quite a lot of them. But still, the storyline is so good, and they create these conflicts that you just have to know what happens. And I felt like I couldn't even listen to it fast enough because I just needed to know what happened immediately. Like, it is so good. I mean, if you're even the least little bit into fairy stories, give this one a try, because her world building, I swear, it is out of this world when it comes to fairies. It's so good. Like, I get the hype. I get it. I'm not so in love with Carden because he's not the greatest guy. He's really not. But I really like him and Jude together because it's like a power struggle, and they're not wonderful people, but you still want them to end up together because they're just interesting. It's refreshing. It's different. It's something that you don't see in every YA novel that there is. So then I took a major turn and I read Prisoner B-3087. That one's by Alan Gratz. I listened to the audiobook, and that's about a man's experience. It's based on a true story, so, you know, there's some fiction in there. It's about a man's experience in 10 different concentration camps during the Holocaust. And it was really eye-opening for me. Like, I get that a lot of these memoirs are probably going to sound the same because they all went through something traumatic, and a lot of the details that you get are the same. Like, I think of Night by Elie Wiesel, and I remember the fighting over the piece of bread, and you're going to see that type of imagery in a lot of different stories from the Holocaust, with good reason, you know? I just really like this one because I felt like it was a fresh perspective. I felt like I was growing up with this boy because he started as a teenager in the camps, and I mean, he was in there for years and transferred to 10 different places. Like, I find that incredible, absolutely incredible. Some of the imagery that you get really sticks with you. Like, I don't want to spoil anything that's in there, but there was one moment that he thought he was going to die and he ended up not dying. But I mean, clearly I knew he wasn't going to because the book I knew continued, but my breath was just like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Like, it was so good. It was so good. And I really liked the end of the story. I read it around Memorial Day, and it was just like a fitting read. He peeked his head out and then expected to see all these Nazis in Nazi uniforms, and he saw Americans instead in their American uniforms, and it was just this meaning of like hope and freedom, and like they're finally liberated and they're finally getting out of there. And it was one of those things like, oh, okay, yes, like that's what I want to represent to other people in the world. I'm sure we don't represent that right this second. What are you gonna know? But I really like the ending of that. It's some of the imagery is hard to swallow. Okay, so if this kind of stuff is difficult for you to listen to or to read, you know, maybe not so much. But if you're interested in World War II and the Holocaust like I am, definitely give that one a try. It's a quick audiobook. You listen to it very fast, and the narrator was really good. Like, really, really good. Okay, so just give that one a try. Give it a try. And last on my list was Bright Young Things by Anna Godberson. Now, I read Anna Godberson's Lux series, and I loved it. Like, it was like Gossip Girl, but better. It just had some intrigue and some murder, and it was great. And I needed something like that. I needed something like light, fluffy, easy listening to, that I just needed something to take me away. And this did the job. The Bright Young Things takes place in the 1920s. So it's kind of like the Lux series, except there's like flappers and bootleggers, and like I really like the question of sexuality in there. There were different sexual scenarios that I thought were interesting. There's one where this girl goes to this party and she doesn't realize that, you know, she is supposed to be the entertainment for the rest of the men. I'm reading this book several years after it came out. But with this Me Too era that we have going on, it makes me see different sexual scenarios in a different light and think, you know, did this happen so many years ago in the 1920s? Or are we reading about it now because we're reading about it from a modern author that understands the different sexuality and the different sexual power plays that we have now? Like, it's an interesting question. I'm not saying that it's good. I'm not saying that it's bad, but I like books that make me think, and surprisingly, The Bright Young Things made me think. And if you like the 1920s era, I mean, just give it a listen. It is a good time. I'm listening to the second one right now, so let's see if that holds up when I get to my June wrap-up. So the last thing I wanted to do is give a shout out to a booktuber that I have been following and thoroughly enjoying. So A.G. McDonald has a fantastic channel, and he is so funny. Like, he puts out new content almost every day. He put out a lot of review videos for Game of Thrones when it was on, so I would like watch an episode and then look forward to his review so that I could go comment on it. Like, it's just a good time. And he seriously makes me laugh all the time. So I just thought that if you were watching my channel and looking for another booktuber to follow because, hey, you like people talking about books, I'm going to link his channel below because you really should give him a listen. I know that I only have my channel on like Facebook that I share with my friends, so I don't have a lot of subscribers. It's really just so that I can like talk to my friends about the books that I like. So if you find yourself enjoying this and you just want to watch some more booktubers, give this one a try. All right, that is all that I have for today. I will catch you next time. Thank you for tuning in to Elise Reads and Speaks. Bye!